and I would never actually do this, like ever.
What if everything you thought you knew about a celebrity marriage was a lie? Well, that's exactly what Sydney Sweeney uncovered. And it all started with a casual conversation she never meant to overhear. What she didn't expect? That this one secret would turn her life upside down. What started as a promising career moment quickly spiraled into a Hollywood nightmare. Here's how one innocent flight changed everything. April 15th, 2025 was supposed to be one of the best days of Sydney Sweeney's life. Fresh off a successful weekend at the Glass Chapel panel in Paris, critics were finally giving her the recognition she'd worked so hard for. No longer just another pretty face, she was being hailed as a serious actress. Even Netflix execs were buzzing about her future. And to top it off, Ryan Reynolds, who'd just landed a rare role outside of Deadpool, was celebrating too. Everything was perfect. Or so it seemed. But as she boarded her flight back to New York, everything would change. On that plane, Sydney didn't expect to hear anything out of the ordinary until Ryan Reynolds unknowingly spilled a secret that would have far-reaching consequences. He didn't whisper, he didn't hold back. He casually started talking about his marriage, as if the entire cabin weren't listening. "I was never her husband," he said. "I was just the image, a beard. There's a contract." That's when everything shifted. Sydney didn't react. She didn't even raise an eyebrow. But the people around her, they did. And soon, it wasn't just the people around her. Hollywood itself was listening. Within hours of her landing back in the States, everything went eerily quiet. No calls, no emails, no press, nothing. Her inbox was empty, and it felt like the industry had suddenly turned its back on her. But why? It all traced back to that one conversation she overheard. Sydney didn't say a word. She kept it to herself. But her proximity to the truth made her dangerous. In Hollywood, sometimes the mere threat of exposure is worse than the exposure itself. Within 48 hours, Sydney found herself blacklisted. Her agent went silent. Projects vanished. And just like that, she was labeled a risk with no explanation. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds kept his public image intact, posting happy social media stories and pretending everything was fine. But privately, the damage was being done. Marvel, the very studio that helped launch his career, was flagging him as a liability, not for cheating or drugs, but for something far less fixable. He'd created an image problem with his marriage. And instead of cleaning up his own mess, the studio decided to erase Sydney. As the Glass Chapel premiere in New York approached, Sydney found herself in a position she never expected. She had the dress, the makeup, the styling, but when she showed up, she wasn't handed a press pass. Instead, they gave her a guest wristband. She was told to stay in the shadows while Ryan Reynolds walked the red carpet alone. Her team tried to resolve the issue, but no one could give her a clear explanation. The studio claimed it was logistics, but the message was clear. Sydney wasn't welcome. Fans noticed. Tweets flooded in, asking where Sydney was. Why wasn't she at the premiere? And soon after, a leaked guest list confirmed it. Sydney had been deliberately erased from the event. That wasn't the only blow. Dior, a brand Sydney had worked with for years, didn't cancel her campaign, they just erased her from it. Sydney disappeared from all promotional materials. Her quotes pulled, her photos deleted. It was as if she'd never been a part of the campaign at all. The silence was deafening. But the internet? The internet was buzzing. A leaked Instagram photo of Blake Lively at the premiere edited to include Sydney went viral. Fans began piecing it together. The narrative was shifting. Sydney wasn't banned. According to the press, she had pulled back. But we all knew the truth. Sydney had been erased. By April 23rd, Sydney was offered a financial settlement and a non-disparagement agreement, a deal that would make her stay quiet. But Sydney didn't sign. Instead, she walked away, completely erased from the project. And that's when things really took off. By April the 25th, fans had caught on. They flooded social media, posting old interviews and red carpet photos showing Sydney standing side by side with Ryan Reynolds. They pointed out how she had been removed from the narrative, and the hashtag #WatchSheDidn'tSign went viral. Even Reese Witherspoon, a veteran of PR battles, was spotted having lunch with Sydney. Rumors quickly spread that Sydney was preparing for her comeback. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds' career was starting to crumble. Investors pulled out of his next project. Internal studio calls hinted at trouble. Ryan went silent on social media, and Blake Lively's team was struggling to manage the fallout. And now, Sydney Sweeney is finally ready to break her silence. She's sitting down for an exclusive interview where she'll reveal everything: the overheard conversation, the blacklisting, the contract marriage, and the twisted games Hollywood played. This isn't just speculation. Sydney has receipts, documents, call logs, direct quotes to back up every claim. This is her public reckoning, and she's ready to take on Hollywood's dirty little secrets. The same studios that tried to erase her are now scrambling to prepare their statements. Blake and Ryan haven't commented, but Sydney, she's ready to expose it all. Her interview is already the most anticipated one in Hollywood. She's not just surviving the silence, she's rewriting the script. Stay tuned for her uncut truth. Sydney Sweeney's story is far from over. The secrets, the scandals, the quiet erasure from Hollywood. It all leads to one powerful moment where she takes control of her own narrative. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Her truth is about to shake the industry to its core. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you in the next one.